Gormagat Caherlick. Maybe first to Minister Chambers. A couple of very brief questions and partially following up on what Deputy Nash was inquiring about. You mentioned 60 employees, 50 to 60 employees in the infrastructure division. Does that include the 13?
Yeah.
That includes the 13, okay. And then reference is made to the 13 being construction policy staff. Seems vague-ish. Could you expand on?
So in the Office of Government Procurement, there's staff involved in the Capital Works Management Framework and involved in the wider work in terms of the construction sector relating to the Office of Government Procurement, and as part of the infrastructure reforms which will be advancing next year, there'll be a significant element of reform to how procurement operates in the infrastructure area, and that's why integrating that component of the OGP was important. But there's also wider work within the department to better integrate the Office of Government Procurement into the department. But because of the establishment of the infrastructure division, the personnel actually in the construction policy side and those involved in the Capital Works Management Framework have played a really important role in giving practical feedback about some of the difficulties, market access, which we hear from SMEs, and from kind of competitive tendering, which we need to improve in infrastructure delivery. And they've had a positive input into the infrastructure reform agenda, and that was the purpose of their role, being integrated into the department.
Okay, thanks. Just moving to the State Laboratory for a second.
Yeah.
So there's reasonably substantial additional costs there, and probably right in saying that they're unforeseen and therefore in the revised estimates. Could you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, so what significant increase in costs for laboratory consumables and laboratory equipment service contracts, which have arisen, and obviously a lot of this work is operational in the state laboratory. And also an IT, and what I've been told, an unforeseen essential IT project, which is a core part of their wider work as a state laboratory. So a lot of that is demand driven, and that was reflected in the additional supplementary estimate.
Are they inflationary costs, or
some of them are? Yeah, in terms of on gas, electricity, there was additional costs there as well.
Okay,
into non-pay premises expenses, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Just a final one for yourself, Minister. The CCEI EU grant, what is that for, 149,000? It's for, I have to get that checked exactly what it is. Yeah, I'll revert on that, but it's obviously there's 0.149 million has been captured in that, but I'll get further detail for the committee on that specific grant.
Yeah,
okay, appreciate it, thanks. Minister Morton, could I ask you about the building upgrades, the 4.1 million? These relate, I understand, to the EU presidency, as does a figure of 1.5 in IT spend.
Sorry, again.
Sorry, there's two revised figures of increased spending. One is in building upgrades and one is in IT projects, and they're both down as relating to Ireland's presidency of the EU. Could I ask you two questions there? One is, could you elaborate a little bit on the building upgrades? That does seem a substantial figure. And secondly, maybe just to get an understanding as to how such an unforeseen figure arises, given that obviously we knew that we would have the EU presidency, and it just seems to be late in the day to be looking at buildings to see if they're fit for purpose.
There's a lot of work in relation to Dublin Castle, in relation to bulk of that money, and also teleconference through the IT section. It's all very important to the UE, the presidency that's coming upon us. So that's where most of the bulk of the money has come from.
Not provided in the original estimate. Sorry, not provided.
Yeah, it wasn't provided in the original estimate.
So most of the 4.1 would be in Dublin Castle?
Yeah.
Okay. And is there any specific works that are taking that amount of money?
It is. Where we've moved, we're doing up the castle. And
Okay, and is there any specific works that are taking that amount of money?
It is. Where we've moved, we're doing up the castle. And I suppose long term, it's huge state value to the castle going forward, and it future-proofs the castle for the next 100 years. And that this work is necessary, but it's also important to the EU presidency.
Okay, thanks. Maybe just a final area to touch on with you, if I may. The heritage sites. Obviously, it's very welcome to note the increase in visitors. I want to ask you, first, if you can comment on what's driving the increase in visitors, and secondly, if you can perhaps point to which of the heritage sites are seeing the biggest improvement.
Well, first of all, I'd say all our heritage sites are seeing significant numbers, and I suppose it's down to a lot of people want to see the heritage. A lot of people are turning back to their site, and last year alone we had 15 million visitors to our heritage site. When they talk about tourism being down, this is a huge step stone in the right direction. I think we can even grow further, but we do, as we say, spend a lot of money in our sites and keep them up to date. But we've very good guides, very good staff, and I suppose where you have that, people tend to go there, and particularly tourists of all ages like to see that. And I think we've seen major improvement over the years, but particularly with the numbers growing is very welcome. So
the increase is across the board. It's not, yeah. And as I said, it's obviously very welcome to see the increase in visitors. Are there any initiatives from your department driving that, or?
Well, we have a number of initiatives, like we've the Wednesdays. I think it's the free Wednesdays. We also have the under 12s, they're free, and that is a big driver to the young kids. It's something I brought in the last time, but it's something that the parents come along with the kids, and it's a key part of the whole thing.
Great.
And the pensioners, there's a big deal in relation to pensioners as well, which is very, very important that people want to go and see I suppose some of our projects, they've been transformed in terms of upgrades and that, and people just keep coming back, and there's a good feel factor about the whole thing.
Yeah, good to hear. Okay, thank you both.